Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, beloved hearts. We are so pleased to have you here today in our next episode of Interdimensional and Galactic Consciousness. My guest today is from the interdimensional world. We're talking about making contact, extraterrestrials, angels, and beyond. Rachel Corpus is with us today. Let's give her a warm welcome. I'm sure you are feeling angelic energy. She is an angel in a human body, and we have got a fascinating story today with Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to connect, and thank you to all of your audience. I can feel their love. So nice to be here.
This is extraordinary because you're an angel in human body. We've got lots of ground to cover because heard are extraterrestrials, angels, and I know you're going to answer that. But this awareness of you when you came into life, can you share that story? Because you've always been connected.
Yes, well, like many of your people watching, I was a psychic child. I'm a psychic person. So I had many experiences growing up where I could see what I believed at that time were angels. I was raised Catholic. And so at that time, they looked like angels you might see in the Bible. They had long white robes and wings and light at the top. And I would see them around my yard or around my crib. Very early memories, even as an infant. And we lived just about 2 blocks from a cemetery, a very old cemetery. So I would play with dead people and animals. And it was just my norm. And I wonder if a lot of little kids have experiences like that because we're so open when we're little. However, when I was 4, my family was in a car accident and I had a near-death experience. And when I was out of my body, there was a grown-up voice. And I was thinking, who is this? Well, it was this voice, this kind of scratchy old lady voice. It was me. It's this voice. It's my consciousness. And there were other angels there as well. And they said, that's you. This is what you sound like as a full-grown angel. And you are an angel. We're going to take you home today and show you what that looks like. And they took me to the seraphim realm. And they showed me where I work. They showed me my locker and my shoes and all of my workspace. They showed me my home. And as I was shown this place, it was a blend of feeling like I was seeing it for the first time, but also starting to remember. And it was just lovely. And my 4-year-old consciousness was in there as well, because I remember thinking, well, this is great, but it's boring. I want to play. And then they started to say, well, we don't have that much time because they're working on your body. We're going to tell you that you can stay here if you want, or you can go back. Either way, you have a mission to fulfill that you signed up for. And here's what it is. And they told me what my mission was. And I really didn't choose to come back. My 4-year-old self came in and I remembered my mom and how sad she'd be if I didn't come back. And as soon as I remembered that, I was back in my little body. And I thought about why and how I can remember that near-death experience so clearly because I was just 4. I think it's because I was in my grown-up angel consciousness that I have all those details. And I've spent my life unpacking that. I've had more than one near-death experience where I've gone back and seen my angel home. But that one, that they laid out many things about what the world would be like, what my life would be like. Has not been easy, but it's been wonderful. And what my job is like as an angel. So that's the gist of it. Here I am.
Wow, that is so fascinating. And so everyone else in the car, I just have to ask, everyone else was fine. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, my dad broke a rib. My mom, um, she continues to have headaches. She was badly hurt. My big brother, bless his heart, I think he broke his arm, but he's the one that actually went out into the highway and flagged down help. Yeah, he's about 4 years, he's 4 years older than me, and thank God for him. But I don't remember any of that. I was off planet.
So as you came back into the body, what was that like? Because here you are in the seraphim realm. Wow. And that feeling and that vibration, because you had that love for your mother, you knew you had to come back. What was that like coming back into your body? Do you remember much of that?
Um, I remember, I remember feeling, I remember feeling big. I remember feeling big like a grown up. And as a grown up now, that's what it felt like. But it felt like I was a giant then compared to a little 4 year old. And then my body was in the hospital at that time. And I was on, there was a wall here. My bed was here. And I remember looking down at my body thinking, how am I ever going to fit in there? And there was this squishy feeling of trying to get in here. I came through here. And then like my gooiness, as I call it, had to kind of fill in all the crevices of my body. I've heard people say when they come back in, it was painful. It wasn't for me. It was just strange, like I was trying to fill a jello mold. And then when I got back in there, I remember opening my eyes and my dad was right there and his head was in a bandage and he was doing a Grover impression from Sesame Street. And as soon as he did that, it's like my spirit and my body snapped in. Okay, I'm okay. There's my dad.
Wow. Okay. I get goosebumps all over. That is really fascinating. So here you are. This happened at such a young age, and you saw your true angelic self. That is so amazing.
Hmm.
How did you go through your life incorporating this? Like, at what age did you come back to this truth? Did you leave this, like, in school? What happened there? In teenage years, what happened there? When did you make your way back to embracing your angelic self?
It was messy,
Yeah.
as life is. Um, well, throughout my life, I will say it was difficult because I had a big secret that I was keeping. And I thought that I needed to because we grew up in a small town. And I will, I'll interject that as an angel, I have access to all my other lifetimes. Um, I wouldn't say they're with me all the time, but I'll get glimpses of them. And if I want to, I can kind of move my head to the side and see them like files that I can look at, and then one will come right back to me. Maybe it's my Akashic records, I don't know, but I can go right into any of my parallel lives or my other lifetimes. And why I say that is I'm aware of when I've been in body before and have been very open about my spirituality and have been institutionalized or ostracized. So knowing that, I was really cautious about being weird or strange. So I kept that secret. And I did tell a couple of friends that I could move things with my mind or that I could see dead people. And I really thought that they were trusted friends, but it was such a big thing to tell them that they couldn't hold it in. And then when it got around, I just was made fun of because it was so beyond belief that it just didn't go well. So for a lot of years, I just didn't talk about it. I didn't want it. And so it folded back in, it just went away. And really, the miracle was I forgot. It wasn't a part of me. I believe that was a prayer answered where I said, I need a break, need a break. And then the track that began was everything they told me on the other side about if you go back, here's what you'll experience. The earth stuff began, and a lot of it was traumatic. And I knew what I was signing up for because to be an angel who has not been human, this is only my 7th lifetime here. It's not a lot of time. I was going to experience and have experienced a lot of hard, difficult things, a lot of trauma. Because if I don't, how do I help people? How do I relate to people? So I've been through abuse, addiction, divorce, child loss, a lot of stuff, as if I've packed lifetimes into this one. But see, as I went through that stuff, it also woke up my psychic ability. I was also training to be an opera singer, then a school teacher, then I was a minister for a while, thinking, okay, well, here are things that I'm naturally good at. I'll sink into that when really what I should have been doing, probably shoulda, woulda, coulda, is just aligning with my spirituality. But in truth, our spirituality is always growing with us. Always. It was growing as I was figuring out who I am. Because even though I am an angel, no one is supposed to be a sacrifice to their spirituality. No one. We are divine beings that are so loved. And as all of that hard stuff was happening, I was coming out. I was blossoming. And then at what I thought was my rock bottom, I said to God, all right, prove it. If we're going to do this, if we're going to work together, show me. Because I'm suffering, show me. And it really was like the universe went blink. I saw the room go, dude, everything just shifted and things started to change for me. And that was a collaborative choice. I also worked on changing my mindset. I was kinder. I put better things in my body. I chose my words differently when I spoke to my children. Um, I changed what I had in my atmosphere. I didn't watch crime shows anymore. I didn't watch as much news. I chose the spiritual path again. I invited it in. I didn't wait for God to just drop a different life in my lap. I knew it was also up to me. So I created a spiritual lifestyle. I just didn't do it on Tuesday nights. I created a life that was spiritual. So that was about 15 years ago, and now it's who I am. So I'm walking the angel walk. I don't hide my wings anymore.
I absolutely love that, Rachel, because this is really indicative of Earth going through its ascension process, and we're with her on that. And so this really happened around 2010, your full embrace of
Yeah.
that was a profound experience time in my life as well. And I find it fascinating that is this beautiful window around 2012. And we know that
Hmm.
that's a great shift. And so you were just a
Yeah.
few years ahead of the time. And
Yes.
thank you for being into that. And so it's fascinating that you can see so much, remember so much.
Mhm.
Before we go into making contact with extraterrestrials and angels, I do want to ask about that childhood play with dead people. You lived near a
Mhm.
cemetery, and
Mhm.
were you scared at all, or what was that like? What do you recall about that playtime?
Mhm. There were some scary things that happened. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
I had a big imagination.
those would be disincarnates,
I
right?
think
That
so. Yeah.
they don't know to go to the light.
Yeah.
They still think that they're alive.
I believe so. Yes. I mean, there were some times that I would go on a walk with my dad he went on runs a lot at the cemetery and I would go with him and there were clearly some people who had crossed over that were there and they were waiting for their family members to come visit. They looked different. But then there were a lot of disembodied souls, earthbound spirits
Ah,
that just looked bored. And I didn't know how to help them at that time, but they thought I could. And they were real needy. But I also was very connected to my personal angels, my guardian angels that we all have. They were like my bouncers. So they would say, she's not ready. I remember them saying, she's not ready. And sometimes one time I had an entity following me that kept saying, but don't you remember me? But don't you remember me? And then I saw him again as an adult. And so Archangel Metatron came in and said, don't worry, you just took a wrong door. I'll take him. So there must be some crossover from other lifetimes where I've helped. It's like, no,
okay.
man, I don't remember you, but I'll help you.
He was still a disincarnate that you saw as you were an adult.
Yes. And he saw me as a child and remembered me from another lifetime. Weird.
Wow. Okay. I know. See, this speaks of interdimensionality. So if our topic is on interdimensionality, this is definitely real.
Uh-huh.
So, wow. So then some people who just looked bored. What did you see? Clothes? Did you could see them, but did you know that they really weren't in a human form, that they were like a ghost? Or did you think that they were human, or what was that like?
They were, they had different qualities to them. Some of them that had just passed, they looked just like us. And they had not crossed over yet, but they were getting used to the idea. They were still kind of attached to their body. Um, and and it looked like they still had family that was coming to the grave, but they weren't there exclusively. They were just there sometimes. Then the ones that were there always, they were very translucent. And they would even turn kind of wispy or even had a dark look to them, like a shadow figure. And then there were, I would call them elementals. They were shorter than a doorknob or door level. And what I knew about them and know about them is they had been there so long, their form had changed. Some of them even belonged to the land that was Native American land, and they just were claiming their space and sharing their space with a lot of other beings. I also noticed the tree roots were active and would talk to me and just embrace me and say, if it's too much, lean against me for a while, honey. And they had beautiful female, most of the trees had a female presence there. And then even the squirrels and the birds, I was so into Cinderella that I thought for a long time that I was making that part up. But then when I went back to the cemetery as an adult, the same thing happened that I could feel the birds saying, the blackbirds that were really old would say, oh, hello there. You're back. You've grown. Fascinating.
I love your connection and your openness and that ability Would you say that we all have this ability?
Yes,
We do.
yes, yes, yes. Even though I'm an angel incarnate, I'm common. No one's human. Everyone has ability. Everyone is, their gooiness inside is pure spirit. We're all some fractal of source. We're all
Yes.
spiritual immigrants. So
Virtual
I would
image.
say yeah, the only thing that makes me a little different is when I had that moment with Source and I said, okay, let's do this. I created a spiritual lifestyle. So I do this all the time. So I really attribute my connection to that. I do this all the time. So I've honed it and I've dropped that part of my ego because, hey, I'm in a human body. I have an ego, but I have talked to that little Rachel, that ego, and I've said, let's just decide that we don't care what people think. Because if we can let that go, wow, what could we do? What if we decide we can't fail? What if we decide we're just gonna let judgment go and see what happens? Let's just play. Let's be here to play. And that's what I did.
I love that. I really love that. And that is what so many light workers have as a program, caring about what other people think. And so you let go of judgment of yourself
Huh?
and others,
Huh?
and you are authentic in that way. Okay, we're going to talk about mindset and how we can shift the mindset. First, I want to talk about extraterrestrial contact.
Mhm.
And you are not only an angel incarnate, but you are a member of the Galactic Federation.
I
Now that's
am.
fascinating. Um, we know that this is galactic consciousness now. When we open up ourselves to the energetics of the support that we have, the inspiration that comes through us is coming from somewhere.
Hmm.
Can you talk more about the Galactic Federation and wow, your role in that? What's going on?
So I get to participate with extraterrestrials pretty regularly. And I'll say that anyone can do that. They love active participation as long as people are not scared and their heart's in the right place. I get to sometimes it's quite boring. We go to meetings, someone's taking notes, and just like any meeting, we get off topic. Somebody's talking about their kid or their animals, and you're like, are we really going to get to anything? Or we could have handled this through a meditation meeting. Or come on, we got stuff to do. I got a client in an hour. Sometimes it's just like that, but we really love each other's company. And then sometimes there's a guest speaker where they'll bring in an ascended master, or they'll bring in someone who is new to the realm, who is just kind of getting used to being in I want to say their skin. That maybe they're a new spirit guide, or they are like Maya Angelou was there once. She's a new ascended master, so she was present. And
Oh,
she's one of the most humble people you could ever meet, and was not surprised by the fact that she was sitting at a table with Buddha and Kuan Yin and very wonderfully strange looking extraterrestrials. So sometimes the meeting is actually some place that you could physically touch. It's on a ship or it's in a dimension. And to get there, our leader, and we move that around. This is all kind of Knights of the Round Table. We all share leadership. So 1 month it might be me, 1 month it might be somebody else. We set the time and date. It's usually in a full moon or when something's in alignment. And sometimes that's we're all meditating together and we hum a certain solfeggio. Maybe it's a G up at a certain octave. And we create a certain chord so we can all meet in vibrational frequency. And we hum that until we're all in tune. I'll have a sleep mask on or something. And as I'm humming that, I'll tunnel and all of a sudden we're in a room together. And then that's how we get to a physical place together. Other times there will be kind of an impromptu meeting and I realize it's 4:45 a.m. and I'm getting a download and I just have to get up, come to my office and just automatic write. And I realize it's one of those meetings. And it's usually something immediate that's happening in the world, right before the fires are happening or something. And so, yeah, we meet often. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really big deal, but sometimes I think we're just meeting because there's more coming up and they want to have the practice of this is how we meet. This is how we get each other's attention. This is the how we do it. And I'm not always clear on the why, but I feel like that's coming later because they're so active right now. We are so active as a federation.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. So the Galactic Council that you're working on and speaking of, and these
Huh?
meetings that you have it at gateways or full moons, things
Mm-hmm.
like this. So are there other incarnate humans, beings who are incarnate as well? Or is it a mix as well of extraterrestrials and angels and non-physical beings, but it
It's a
seems like
mix.
it's a mix.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did you begin to recognize this and trust what was going on? Because perhaps this is happening to more people, but we just aren't aware of it, right? Is that a possibility
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
deep dream space, but you're very conscious of it? You put on your sleep mask and
Mm-hmm.
you hum and you do the humming and then you see that open up. That is really incredible.
Right. I had I had a couple of instances that were just undeniable. I had one of the extraterrestrials by the side of my bed. Um,
When you woke
for
up,
for
you saw this
yeah,
standing there.
yeah, I hadn't even been asleep yet. This was only like 10:30 at night.
And did you
And
were you scared or was it an
oh,
overwhelming
isn't
feeling of
that weird? I
love?
wasn't. The only scared part was like, oh, you're right there. It was just that, which my kids do all the time. Like, Mom, we're out of milk. Great. Tell me in the morning or at the door. It was that kind of like just a quick jump scare.
Wow.
But I wasn't scared by his presence. And he was doing something to my arm with this thing that looked like an ink pen, but it was bulbous on the end. He was pushing it into my arm and he says, inoculation, which I thought was supposed to keep me healthy. But then later they told me he was working with my DNA strands. He was adding something to my DNA. So when that happened, I realized, okay, we're moving this up. I've been talking to extraterrestrials my whole life since I was a kid, but I didn't really do much with it because I thought, well, they're coming to me. I don't know how to go to them. So I just kind of waited for it and I thought, well, I'm just passive with this. What can I do? They're so far away. They're up in the stars. I love them. I even missed them sometimes, but what do you do? I can't contact them. But there was something about them being so close that I thought, this feels really personal. So I started to do research on YouTube and listen to other people's stories and see where there were similar things happening. One, because I thought am I having a neurological event? Am I okay? I was, absolutely. And then I just utilized the wisdom of others. I watched Ancient Aliens. I mean, I really went for it. And I also wanted to know what type of aliens. They don't like aliens, actually. I should stop saying that. Extraterrestrials, because aliens, they don't like that because it's other. Extraterrestrials I was talking to because they all had a very certain look. And then I started to channel how do you like to be contacted? What works with you best? And so I heard from them, we won't come if we sense fear, because we don't want to scare you. We do want to know exactly where you're located because we we are navigators. So tell us your address. So, hi, it's me. It's Rachel. I love you. Tell us why you want to meet because sometimes we're busy. I would just like to check in and ask you what's going on with all the UAPs. And this is where I am right now. And so I repeat my address. And I'm out on my deck because my family's asleep. So could we meet on the deck? Or I'm down in my office. And I just repeat that. And then I
Wow.
send out the frequency of love. And then I wait. I might even go back to bed and I wait for the signal. They'll tap on my window
Wow.
or they'll
Uh,
sit on the edge of my bed or I'll just get a knowing I need to go outside right now. There they are.
I have goosebumps through this whole conversation, and I know I'm not alone. This is really so fascinating. So the key is no fear whatsoever. We've talked a lot about that here. The fear actually repulses them.
Yes.
Because they don't want to scare us. I've had dreams
Never.
that they're working on the fear. So I'm not going to go into my story because there's so much to cover with your story. It's so fascinating. But we're having these experiences, and so those are great reminders. So here, what do they tend to look like when you see them?
Mm. Well, I was going to say something just really quick. Even if you have a group of people that you've gathered and you go out to a beautiful retreat and you're calling in the extraterrestrials, if you have one person that's doubting or they're scared, kindly ask them to stay behind because the extraterrestrials won't come. They're so tender about that. Yeah. Okay. So what
Very
they
good.
look like, yeah, what they look like is, well, my my favorite group call themselves Sarai, and I've talked to them since I was children. I was a child, and since they were children, actually, we grew up together. They're pink
Wow.
and purple, and they have bigger heads, smaller faces. Their chins come down a little bit, beautiful eyes that are just kind of dark black, but like black obsidian and almost faceted. Beautiful little nose. And then they're tall, 8 feet, 7, 8 feet tall. Beautiful, slender figures, feminine figures. And I've never seen them with clothes on or anything, but they just don't. But they're pinkish and purple hue to them. And they always seem to travel in a group, like they're sharing thoughts. So if one takes a right step, they all take a right step. And they just have each other's back. I just love them. And they're so funny. They're so funny. And this group of extraterrestrials, they're very affectionate and they're warm to the touch and their skin is really soft. And then I've seen some that are more the typical gray.
Mm.
Their skin is really soft, but they've got the bigger head, the big eyes, sometimes no mouth or just a slit mouth. And they're usually really busy. They have something to get done. They're here because they're working for another group of beings that their frequency is so high or so fast that they actually can't be here. So they've created the grays to be kind of like their gophers. So those grays are just like, okay, I'm here. Kind of like the white rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. I gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. hurry, hurry. And then there's the species that look like kind of like cats.
Mm.
And oh, they're wonderful. So wise and very observant. They're kind of like the watchers. And they love luxury. And they love to stop and sample things. What you're eating, what you're drinking. And then I've seen some that are tall, beautiful pearlescent skin, white, beautiful hair, and white robes, kind of like this cut of, but very soft fabric that shimmers and can shape shift. I really feel that there are so many different types. I don't know how we would count them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And the avians, there's half bird, half humanoid.
Mm.
I've seen them before. Yeah, they fascinate me. And
Well,
there's no sense of, I can always ask them, where are your ears? Or what is it that you eat? They're so giving with information. I mean, here, I don't feel comfortable going up to a person of color and saying, where are you from? We don't do that. Where are you really from? That's not, that's not okay. But it's different in the extraterrestrial realms because they want us to know. They want us to know that something beautiful about our universe is our our differences are wonderful. Our insides are the same. We're all from the same spirit. We're all from the same source. And how we appear different, we can ask each other about that because we have experienced different things, and that wisdom we can share with each other. And with them, nothing's off topic. I can ask them, do you have sex? How do you make babies? Do you sleep? Do you poop? It's fun to have those conversations with them. They don't mind.
and what do they
Great.
say about that? What do they have sex? Do they eat?
Some of them do. Yeah,
Wow.
some of them have children through more of a laboratory process,
Mm.
and how they raise the young is more of a village kind of set up. Not many of them eat like we do. It's more of a lot of them have liquid that nutrients that they drink, and they don't poop very often. Not the ones I know. It's like once a year or something. And they're really clean. They are so clean. And they often smell, it's not a smell we have here, but it smells so good. I can't describe it. It's just not something we have here. It's not
Yeah.
medicinal or anything. It just smells good. I would say the closest thing we have to it is like jasmine.
Wow. I'm sensing right now in some temples in Crestone, Colorado, there's one with the Divine Mother. And I went into it and it was a smell I've never smelt before. It was almost like jasmine, very floral, but so loving that I can still smell that right now. So perhaps that
Mm.
is a portal for other higher dimensional beings when we smell those things.
Yes. I want to ask.
Tell us what you're dousing. So this is beautiful.
So I love to pull out these beautiful dowsing rods to do a quick connect with the extraterrestrials because I can feel them listening. Oh, you're
Hi.
complimenting us. You're complimenting us. Do more. Say more. Loves, can you help us when we smell that smell? Are we in alignment with a portal, or are we in alignment with you? Yes. Thank you. And Mother Mary, does that include the ascended master? Okay, you're in alignment with the portal of love.
Hi.
Okay. Neat. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. We could watch you do that all day. I know we're limited on our time here, but wow, this is fascinating. Rachel, we're going to have you back. I know you're going to be doing a beautiful webinar series for our
Mm.
audience, and this is to help them do awaken their abilities. We'll talk about that in a moment. I wanted to ask more about okay, so when you are with the Galactic Council that you're a member of, and you go to these meetings, it's really focusing on the how you get there, how you join together,
Hmm.
it, more so than the why. Why do you think that's happening on this planet? Why is it so, what's going on? Because here we are in the first part of this year, and it seems like things have moved so rapidly. I mean, in my own life, things have changed really fast. So we're seeing a lot of dismantling of things. What indication, what are you hearing from these beings of the importance of this time? And maybe what needs to be done? What are they saying about that?
They are sharing a lot of information about, well, what you just said. Well, there's a lot of dismantling. The dismantling is being done purposefully, um, by people who believe it's the right thing to do. And the extraterrestrials are, and all involved, the ascended masters, the angelic realm, our ancestors. What they appear to be doing is observing the timeline and watching with Archangel Azrael is very busy with this as well. Watching the dismantling process, just like when one goes into a home that's about to be flipped, watching the deconstruction of the kitchen and watching everyone do their part without judgment. Even if those cupboards look great, someone's still going to rip them out. Okay, we're going to watch this and hold sacred space for it. No judgment. And there are, I'll call them nexus points, perfectly orchestrated points where we will have interaction, full disclosure interaction with the realms, plural, where they will be here to assist us in the rebuilding. And so those who think that the world is just going to hell in a handbasket, it's the opposite. It's like we're tilling the soil. We are tilling the soil. And what's different about this time is collectively, every person on the planet right now in their own way has said, I want something better. Now, what they want better might be defined differently person to person, but everyone has said, better, please. And that's why they're here. So they have not been engaged as much because the law of free will, but our free will collectively has said, we are asking for help. Come on in.
Yes.
Yeah. So that, I had said earlier when we were talking, I'm not sure of the why. That must be the why. They're nodding. That's the why. But we respect the timeline of who's on Earth right now, and we don't want to come in too early. It's not time yet.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm getting
Yeah.
goosebumps. Um, I would love to have you share on how we can make this connection. And I wonder if I may ask you a question about my experience that I had just last week. Can I share that
Yes.
with you?
Oh, please, please.
Okay. I was working with another beautiful speaker with the 5D Lightship City of Light, learning
Mm,
about really sensing and feeling the light beings. And I've been really closely drawn many, many years, but just recently the Arcturians are really, they're guiding me. Like right now I want to cry because I feel that. So that is an indicator, right? This is our guidepost when we feel this way or inspired this way. That's correct, right? Okay.
Yes.
I was sitting outside. It was probably around 4:30 in the afternoon. And where I am, the sky gets dark, right around 5:30 or 6. So that is very interesting that I look out at a cloud and I felt a different vibration. And then I started to see the cloud was more of like this oval, but it was a regular cloud in front of it. But then this shape behind it was almost like a fuzzy, misty, lenticular type cloud. And I just sat with that. And again, part of me is like, I'm just making this up. But something truly struck a chord within me that these are beings. And then a beautiful channel passed recently, Judy Callie was on that ship and she was giggling like we know her. And so isn't that fascinating? That is something that is not just my imagination, is it? Or what is your sense about that? Because I could still feel it, and maybe it lasted for about 15 minutes.
Good. You are in direct connection. You are a vibrational match. And they would like me to share that they were training you. And
Okay.
so if you would like, there's an invitation for you to draw that beautiful feeling back into your awareness, into your mind, and into your body. Sit with it and utilize that, we'll call it frequency, as your way of calling them.
Mhm.
When you feel that, that's like your vibrational phone call or text message to them. I'm using this to call you back in. Match that frequency that you felt to theirs. And when you call that out, they'll feel it. Click, you've connected. So they trained you by saying, here we are. You want to connect? They called you. You received the call. Now you can do it back. It was a training session.
All
And
right.
your friend was saying, isn't this fun? Isn't this fun?
Yes.
This is
She's
great. We're playing.
We made it. And so, all right, thank you for sharing that. And so this is important. And one little backstory I want to give on that is that it's been decades in the making. Really, 2009, I had an ET sighting. I saw a ship, my husband and my son. Won't go too deep into that, but we were so scared in the moment, like I couldn't feel my knees. And I did not even get my camera. 6 months after that experience, I woke up in the early morning startled from a dream. And the dream was all about them landing and being in fear. And then I was standing helping the people. No, we cannot be in fear. So to me, they were working on my fear in a visceral
Yes.
level. And then 2 weeks before this most recent experience that I had another dream. And that same ship was landing, it was coming down. And the beings that you described, it was like that. They looked like us, but they were different. And they were so soft and loving. And they were just looking at us. And I was approaching them and I'm like, hi, how you doing? Okay, we'll see
Yes.
you later. We'll see you later. And I kind of go over here, and then I was busy getting a space together for us to all have lunch. So that, and there's been many dreams, but that's just a few that stick out in this journey. And this is for all of us to recognize, right? Because we're all having things like this. So that is disclosure. It's
Yes, that they are actually getting you prepared for what's going to happen. And when that happens, you will have that more than deja vu moment because you've already participated in it in your dreamscape. It will happen just like that. You'll be doing something that you do in your beautiful everyday life, preparing a beautiful setting for something. And there they are. They will be here. They'll show up just like that. Like they're pulling up in their SUV.
Mhm.
Here they are.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It will
Beautiful.
be just like that.
Okay. Okay. So for all those watching and listening, we need to keep an open mind. I know there are some beginners or just those who are, I don't want to use that word beginner, those who are starting on this awakening path and they're curious. And because of that curiosity is something. It's not just to,
Yes.
it's not just to be doubting like, oh, I'm going crazy, but there is something to that. And so here you are, you people how to cultivate this within themselves, like you just
Mhm.
assisted me. And so, what can you share about this process for people and how it unfolds in their life?
You mean how do I help people?
Sure, let's start there.
Okay. Well, something that I really love to do is help people in a way where at some point they won't need me anymore.
Mhm.
Because I've been told, and I truly believe that when we're born, we have everything we need to do this life, all facets of it, including our spirituality, which is probably our main thing, our main component. And so my life is built on, at least, besides motherhood and trying my best to be a wife, all those things. When I'm helping people in this capacity, I get to sit with them and listen. How how's their life going? And then I listen to their guides, their ancestors, their angels, and I'm the liaison, and I give insight. I help them build their best life, connecting them to their past lifetimes, their parallel lifetimes in the multiverse. And I help them build practices that are sustainable because they're simple and they're playful. And I simply help them fill the gaps. I help them see things from a different perspective and a loving perspective. I break the barriers of fear and doubt with them. And I help them remember why they're here on this planet and what they're destined to do, and help them see their potential because it's there. And then after a while, they're not supposed to see me for years or even months. I'm a boost. That's it. I'm just walking with them for a while. And then the other way I get to help people is I have a podcast I'm really passionate about. It's called Angel Talk. And that's how people can just kind of tune in and listen while they're on their run or falling asleep. And I love that so much because people don't know what you're doing. It's not like sitting in a big cathedral where everybody's present with you while you're listening to the sermon. No, it's so private. You can just listen to it. And I love that. But what did you mean by your question?
No, I absolutely love it because here you are an angel on earth, and that is very angelic of you to assist in that way because we need this. People's light is so important on this planet, right? It is
Yeah.
very important. And I think that we are at a time on our planet where it feels like we're going backwards. It feels
Mm,
like I can name a number of things, like processes got easier, got easier, got easier. But then this year something happened. And it's like,
yeah.
wait a minute. I'm like, is it a Mercury retrograde? No, it's not a Mercury retrograde.
Mhm.
It's like the earth is going backwards. So that could just be us recognizing what is that? Are we recognizing limitations within ourselves that we need to break free of to jump ahead into these these experiences that we need to trust in a higher source?
Yes. And yes, that is what's happening. I will say that the higher source we get to trust in is not outside of us, it's within us. And so
Yes.
we're actually witnessing
Mm-hmm.
a deficit or a breaking down of authority figures,
Yes.
even policies,
Mm.
structures that we've depended on because we've relied on them too much. And so what we are constructing collectively as a people, we may not know it, but we're reworking that matrix because we no longer want to rely on something outside of us.
I
We're
love.
building something that we rely on in here. That's the new way. That's the 5D. And it's same with our bodies. We're all moving into our crystalline body. We don't even need this as much. We're moving into that new structure. So it's like unknown territory. So we're also experiencing all these emotions that come with it. Like, can we do it? This is weird. This is scary. Will we have enough? Yes. It's to all of that. It's fine. We can do this. We just haven't done it since Atlantis or before. We're all there together. We're all here again. Same
Yeah.
peeps.
The same people. And yes, so that answers the question that we are all here. And this is where, and the last couple of years, it's been like, I've been experiencing, I know others have been too, that we're under this pressure. It's like we're in a pressure cooker. No diamonds come without pressure, right? So we're being
Yes.
diamondized. And
Huh,
so,
I love it. I love that.
and so so then when we are under pressure at times or concerned about our choices, for example, or things that are happening in our life, we tend to like go outside and go outside of ourselves and reach out to other people, whether they be psychics or friends or
Mm-hmm.
trusted confidants and that sort of thing. But what keeps coming back every single time for me in my personal journey, and I know others, is that no one can give us the advice except for ourselves. And that's what we're learning. The best advice is we are our best PR person, we are our best guide. And so tuning into that wisdom within and learning how to trust it. And this is why
Yes.
your story and your journey is so helpful and beneficial to us because you're authentic. You do not care what other people think anymore. And once you
Mm-hmm.
transcended that, wow, you're unstoppable. And that
That's
is,
right.
mhm.
I want everyone to know that.
And
I
so
really do.
And that is new earth. And it begins with this knowing what we know within ourselves and learning to trust and cultivate that so much. So
Yes.
this is beautiful. It would be a great time to talk about this wonderful opportunity for our audience to spend time with you. I'm so excited about it because it's 3 sessions, webinars
Yes.
that you're going to be holding, and they're on the mindset. It's mindset mastery with angelic guidance. Awaken your inner luminary. This is what we're talking about.
Yes.
So, what's going to happen in this? Tell us more, please, Rachel.
All right. So imagine what your life could be like if you were guided by love for yourself instead of fear. And when you said to the universe, surprise me with a miracle. Universe, surprise me with a gift of money. But when you said that, you didn't then default by saying, I don't know if that's going to work. What if you could eliminate that default of limit? We are actually going to work on coding with the universe. We're going to talk directly to the universe. We're going to get coaching directly from the angels, the ascended masters, the extraterrestrials that will personally match the people who sign up using your learning style, your language, and you get to learn how to recode your life and then shut the book so that you're not sending mixed messages to the universe. You get to learn how to treat the universe as an employee that you love, your favorite employee. so that you start to see immediate changes in your life. This is not a sales tactic. This is the way the universe behaves. And this is a new way that you can live. I'm going to teach you concepts that are simple, that you can start to breathe differently, see yourself differently, and change your life. And this can come from a place of fake it till you feel it. The universe doesn't care. But you'll start to change the way you are. And this is a 3-week course. You don't need to do this for years. This is like, okay, let's keep this at the level of, let's do a quick wardrobe change, or let's change your perfume. Let's change something. It can be at that level. It's that easy, yet that profound. That's what we're going to do.
I love it. Thank you so much. I know our audience is very excited because we are already in our own ways ready to advance this and really see the results, literally see the results. So that's beautiful. And, part of this has to deal with limiting belief. How do the angels help us with limiting beliefs?
Great question. The angels will help with limiting beliefs because they will help you and me see your beliefs that you have gained from about, well, first moment of life through age 7. So you came in a beautifully blank, gorgeous computer. And when you began life, you began observing life, listening to life through all of your mentors, your teachers, whether that be the television, the people around you. So you began to gain programming that really doesn't belong to you. So we'll be able to look at that programming and see what's limiting you. Plus, we get to look at the programming that you chose to bring in to heal from your ancestors. So we get to look at what we might call your soul map or your life chart. And I'll teach you how to do it. I won't do this for you. I get to teach you how to do it, which is a wonderful skill to have. And then as you notice what that is, then we pull the energy out, we palpitate it, we play with it, we're loving to it, and we can return it back to its original sender. We build practices so you can notice when it's messing with your life or it's getting in the way of your life. And then you talk to it, or we do certain things with it. So it's no longer what's ruling the road, because you're probably making good conscious choices already. For some reason, they're not working. It's because your subconscious beliefs are the ones that are taking control. So that's what we'll do. Just to give it a brief summary, there's a little more to it, but it's so good.
It's so good. And again, it's part of our mindset. And so when we become aware of something, a belief or a subconscious program or an ancestral trait, right? That you can see, I've got family that I didn't grow up with. I didn't meet some of them from my birth dad. He has a whole separate family, but we all sound alike, especially when we get flustered. So that's ancestral. That's ancestral in the blood, right? And so we
Yes.
feel this. How much of how much of the work does awareness do? Would you say it's 80, 90% of the work, the awareness? And then what's the other work to do after that awareness?
I would say once you're aware, that's probably about 30%, just
Okay,
being aware. And then the rest is actively participating in the rerouting or redirecting your choices.
that's the true work, is to make new choices based on it. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so energy healing, exercises for inner healing, getting us more into that loving vibration. That's a part of this webinar series as well. And the angels are working with us there. And there's lots of tools and exercises that you're going to share on this too.
Yes, very much so. Your physical body keeps track of what you brought in and what you are storing. And so we will use, you won't need to do this in front of people. I'll promise you that. And unless you feel comfortable doing so, but we'll use sound coming from your voice, like we'll use your chest voice that
Mm.
will add some frequency. So anything that's dormant in your heart area, in your belly area, and even up in your pineal glands and stored in your brain, we'll be able to dislodge anything like that and move it through your system and actually give it back to the earth. We can move it through your feet. We'll use a little bit of movement, anything that's stuck in um, your body system. We'll also be paying attention to your scar tissue, knowing that the limbic system in your brain will often send data into your scar tissue as if it's a separate file cabinet. When your brain is storing things for you, it'll also store things to tell the rest of your body, oh, keep this for me. So we'll do some techniques that you can do on your own about massaging your scar tissue and talking to it with love. I don't need you to hold that for me anymore. I'm saying this as I touch my cesarean section scars, which is holding that whole experience I had when I had my children. I don't see it as positive or negative or neutral. It's just there. And that's part of the journey too. Looking at our body not as positive or negative or neutral, just it is. It is. So there's a lot of reframing that we'll do. So yeah, a lot of energy work with the body.
A lot of energy work and reframing. This is really transformational. I know I'm excited for it. I know others are excited for it, just to be in this 3 week journey. And so, who've gone through this in the past, how have you seen them transform? Can you share a story or two on how your students' lives have changed?
I can. I am particularly proud of someone I know who was working in the corporate world for a really long time and really thriving there. She was the head of a company. In the back of her mind, she really wanted to create a spiritually based business, but she was telling herself that in order to do that, she needed to have a day job. And she was staying in the corporate world because it was so good there, benefits, pay, but she wasn't happy. And so we discovered through the processes that the angels have channeled through me, we discovered that she was carrying limiting beliefs of money fear, that money would keep her safe. And we worked through that and we helped her broaden her perspective. We built some practices for her. And that's about 7 years ago. Now she has her own spiritually based company where she sells her own jewelry and candles and she does readings and she makes double her salary that she did in the corporate world. And I'm so proud of her. But more than that, she's peaceful in her heart
Yeah.
and she helps people. She's always helped people. She always has. She's always loved people, but she's doing something that she's more proud of and is more in alignment with who she wants to be. And I don't feel that I'm the one that got her there. I feel like I'm the one that witnessed her growth. And I'm proud of that as well.
You witnessed it, but you also awoke the angel in her. You are awakening angels. You are awakening, rekindling that connection that we have within us, and then putting us into powerful angelic roles. Really cool. And I think it's really cool that this is happening now at this time because this isn't limited to angels. Maybe
Right.
we are extraterrestrial and we don't know, like we know starseed.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, you're so right about that.
Wow. So I know people want to work with you and we're excited for that. If you are watching listening to this, then you are being called. You are being called to join Rachel and the angels and the extraterrestrials in this three-part series. It is transformational. If you're ready to step up, please check it out. The link is in the description box or on this webpage that got you here. And we really want to make this easy for people. So there's a 2 payment option and there's even a 3 payment option, if that helps. So check that out, everyone, and join Rachel. The details are also on this webpage. Wow, Rachel, is there anything else you'd like to share about this course?
Mm. Just have to say that one of my most favorite things about teaching is that I notice every time we get to pull people together, they meet their tribe. And I'm excited for that. I can feel it happening already. So I would encourage people to do it for many reasons, but one primary reason is you'll get to be with your spiritual group.
Soul family, yes, your
Yes.
spiritual group. And it is so fascinating when I see the groups coming together, how the group is perfect for each other. So
Yes.
it really works every single time. It's the angels and the universe is guiding us in that way.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
inspires me so much. I can already feel the group coming together and I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful for you too for doing all of that. So thank you for being you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inspiring me and sharing with my story. And we hope that others are looking in their own lives and retracing some of their experiences, knowing that it's been happening. It has been
Yes.
happening. We just may not be aware of it. And so cultivating that is why we incarnated. And it's getting exciting. And I love how you say, step back from the news and definitely the television of crime shows or I remember watching ER, that medical show. And one time
Yeah.
I mean, this is 20 years ago already, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
remember.
no more, because I could just feel that energy.
Yeah, and it
But
was on like at 9 p.m. and then you had to go to sleep after that. It was impossible. Yeah.
yeah, so we just don't need that. And I think everyone is really in tune to that. We do choose love. We choose love. And everyone here chooses love and rebuilding into new earth. So game on, everyone. Thank you so much, Rachel. As we say goodbye, I want to give you a moment for final thoughts or a message.
Thank you. Well, I feel and hear the angelic realm and the extraterrestrials overlapping, standing together. And they're saying, this is more than a hang in there message. This is, we witness Earth excelling and we're proud. And don't forget to call on us. We understand free will. We respect it. And we are proud that you are gaining back your sovereignty. Know we're here as support always. And look for our nudges through synchronicities and moments of laughter and pure joy. And then I hear from the extraterrestrials, enjoy the slow disclosure because our presence will be known very soon. And then the angels said, we'll be right behind them. Mm.
I got more chills and goosebumps, God bumps. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy the slow disclosure and witness what it is in your life, beautiful hearts. Thank you for opening your mind and your heart to this conversation. We look forward for you to join Rachel in that beautiful opportunity to work with her I can already feel the vibration shifting within all of us. Rachel, this whole conversation was an activation of our connection to our angelic selves and our extraterrestrial selves as well. So beautiful. You have lifted us up, you have, and we thank the angels and the ETs and the beings of light. Thank you,
Mm,
Rachel Corpus. Thank you.
thank you.
Namaste. Be sure to join us on Zoom tomorrow for a live Q&A session with Rachel. We'll see you then. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.